Hello and welcome to this month's astrological forecast as we look at the month of Pisces. The sun goes through the sign of Pisces at the end of February through to the Spring Equinox on the 21st of March. It's the last sign of the Zodiac and the symbol is two fishes swimming in opposite directions. As the last sign of the Zodiac, this sign is very old and wise, and it knows that it needs to look back through the whole cycle from last spring, everything it's picked up on the journey, and actually apply it, actually make use of the knowledge. But also there's a big deal with Pisces that they need to learn how to let go of anything that they don't want to take forward. So the fish looking backwards is to do with the last solar cycle from the spring equinox to now, and the fish looking forwards is to step up and over into a new cycle, so we're not just going round and round in circles. The fish in the Celtic tradition was the wisest of the animals, swam upstream, the salmon, to breed, and this is an analogy of going back to source once we've completed our reincarnation cycle this time. So it's about going back to source. It's a very spiritual sign. We also see the opposite sign of Virgo, and Virgo was, in the tree calendar, was associated with the hazelnut. Now the salmon of wisdom ate the hazelnut of truth. So we can see there that that's also an analogy to the axis of Pisces and Virgo. Excuse me. The Pisces-Virgo axis is actually talking to us also internally about the two hemispheres of the brain, and the pineal gland is in the middle. So Virgo is seen as the rational, the logical, the detail. Let's plan, let's think, let's make things happen for a harvest cycle. And Pisces opposite is seen as the intuitive and the mystic and the bigger picture. So let's make use of the whole cycle of our life rather than just looking to the practicalities of getting the harvest in. So we're looking at right and left brain energy when the sun goes through Pisces anyway, but this is almost tripled because we've also got Mercury retrograde in Pisces at the moment. So to explain that, Mercury is the ruler of Virgo. That is the logical, that is our perception. It's how we tune into thought forms, process them through the brain and express them through communication or action. But while Mercury goes retrograde in Pisces, this means the opposite. This means we need to delve into those Piscean waters. This means that things won't necessarily make sense, but if we flip hemispheres and we tune in to our psychic, our intuitive and our spiritual side, forget about the logic and the rationale and the planning, all that kind of stuff, and just get deeply into our intuitive side, our spiritual side, and reconnect to source, then things will work their own way out. But it does feel a little bit like being underwater, so we need to get goggles and flippers on in order to be able to work in those realms. Things seem slightly unusual in the daytime, but I would imagine some very powerful dreams and insights and a feeling of homecoming spiritually. So it's a beautiful aspect. Most people do down Mercury retrograde, but it's actually, without that, we'd just be thinking all the time and doing all the time. Whereas 3 times a year, when Mercury goes out of sync, as it were, we actually get a chance to recalibrate, to think about the deeper stuff, to use the other parts of our brain and our spirit and our soul, reconnect to what's truly important. So this year we'll have 3 retrogrades, all in water signs, but for now it's Pisces' turn. So we're going to be in the intuitive, mystic, spiritual realms, and we might as well dive in and see what that brings. As the sun passes through a sign, when the moon is opposite, that's the full moon. So what we have today, in fact, is a full moon in Virgo. Now Virgo, as we know, is the productive, it's the loving, Gaia, harvest, earth mother energy. But the full moon represents bringing up our subconscious thoughts and feelings. We go about day by day thinking more on the external, or thinking more on the rational, on the productive, on what we need to do. And then the full moon comes along at some point during the month and, like a depth charge, looses all the internal subconscious thoughts and feelings, brings them up to the surface so that we can reflect upon them, because the full moon is reflecting the sun's light back to earth. So it's actually a solar occasion, if you think about it, because the moon doesn't create its own light. So the full moon reflecting all that Pisces sunlight back to us, to our shadow side, and calling us intuitively, deeply, on a cellular level, to go in and consider our subconscious thoughts and feelings. Now with Virgo, this could be about logic, this could be about restriction, this could be about thinking too much, this could be about showing us our limited thoughts, this could be about controlling and planning too much when we're actually in a much bigger flow. So those would be the areas to look at tonight. Where are you trying to plan step by step, control, make things happen, push forward, be productive, when actually it's a lot more of our 95% other realm, the other parts of our brain, our deep subconscious and our heart and our soul that is actually swimming effortlessly downstream. So see if you can tune into where your thoughts aren't helping you. Both Virgo and Pisces have a healing aspect as well. So this would be a case of, if you do this now, you may be able to heal any blocks or negativities that are going on for the next year, because we only have one full moon in each sign per year. So we have the Sun in Pisces, we have Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and we have the full moon in Virgo tonight. When the Sun goes through the sign of Pisces, the new moon will be in the same sign. So the new moon in Pisces falls on March the 11th, and there are 6 out of 10, or 6 out of 9, depending on which way you want to look at it, planets all in the sign of Pisces. This is just a ridiculous amount, so I don't really need to say much about this, because you'll be feeling it once the full moon has started to wane. You'll just be feeling all this Pisces energy anyway. But we'll have a quick look. We've got Mars, Moon, Sun, Venus, Mercury and Neptune. So Mars will be your spiritual warrior, what you're passionate about and where you put your focused attention. So turn that inwards, because there's just no point trying to do anything else. Sun and the Moon is a new moon, so the Sun and the Moon are outer and inner, our conscious and subconscious. Our day and our night are both in the emotional ocean of Pisces. Venus is in there as well, so our love, our values, which is what Venus truly stands for, what we value, what we love, and what is love. So I would imagine that there'll be a lot of very gentle, flowing, loving energies around, but try and turn that inwards as well, because the more you get to love yourself, the more you're able to receive, and the better your connections will be. As I said, we've got Mercury there retrograde, so we've covered that one, and then we've got Neptune, who will be around for quite a while, another 14 years in Pisces. And Neptune belongs in Pisces. This is your spiritual centre, this is your direct connection, your resonant tuning fork, and just totally at home in that element. So that one's going to be around for a while. So that's 6 out of 9 or 10 aspects of the chart, all in Pisces, unavoidable, so we might as well go with it. As we end the month, we come up to the 21st of March, and this is the Spring Equinox. This is a vital time in astrology. We don't just go round and round, we let go of what we no longer need, we assimilate what we've learnt, and we reconnect to our simplest selves before stepping up lighter into a new cycle. So on the soul's journey around the zodiac, it's not just a circle, it's actually an increasing spiral, and this is the natural fabric of time, particles, galaxies, everything is spiraling round. So it's a chance towards the end of the month to think what you want to let go of, to get lighter and brighter, and to honour your spiritual side a bit more, even though the Aries energy rushing in is going to quickly make us feel bouncy and full steam ahead. So more on the Spring Equinox next time as it gets here, but that's largely the astrology of the month. Sun through Pisces, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, so flip into the intuitive waters and see what the other realms look like, experience, process, belong. Full moon in Virgo tonight, chance to clear up our rational, limited, where we think too much, where we try too much, where we control too much, and just loosen the reins a little bit. That's at 8:19 p.m. tonight, UK time. And then an unavoidable new moon in Pisces on the 11th of March. Might as well just let go of the banks of the river and flow with that one, because we don't seem to have much choice, but it is beautiful. It's just about surrender and allowance, so that will tide us really well towards the Spring Equinox, when we need to step up into a new level, but we've been aware of what we've learnt and what we need to leave behind in order to do it. So that's the Pisces climate, and I will see you next month.